So, Kyle, this is actually super awesome to be here talking to you because I know in Africa, if anyone knows the brand Digico
Mm.
and they don't know Kyle, I'm just saying, they're missing out a lot. Because my understanding is you, Kyle, you're basically the support person for Digico products,
Yep.
and you working for DWR, you're actually the official distributor of Digico, basically to my understanding, basically in Africa.
Pretty much, yes. Yep,
Yeah,
that's it.
So I just know some people they don't really know all the products under Digico, the whole range.
Yep.
Can you basically take us through some of the products
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
Digico has? Yeah.
So, starting off in the sort of the range, there are three different types that we would look through. Starting right in the beginning, that's the S series. So what we would be looking at is the Digico S21 and the Digico S31, and that is the sort of small format console, very cost effective, but it has all the core features and exact same sound as all the other big boys. Um, so 21 is 20 faders and a master fader, two touchscreens. The 31 is 30 faders, one master fader, and three touchscreens. Moving up in the line, we then go to the SD range, which is a lot more packed into that range. Starting off with the baby, which is the SD11, and that is starting from 48 channels. So just with 12 faders, which is quite something. From there, we go to the SD9, which is 96 inputs, 48 outputs. The SD8, which is looking at 120 inputs, 48 outputs. Going to the SD12, there's a couple different packages there, but just looking at 96, 48. Nice big surface, two touchscreens on that. It's one of the more latest consoles that have come out from them. And then we go into start climbing into the big range, which is the SD10, 144 inputs, 64 outputs. SD5, which is again, it's in the 200 count, 128 outs.
Sure.
And then the SD7, which is the flagship, which is the dual engine, and again 250 odd inputs with 128 outputs. The latest stuff that they've brought out is the Quantum series. So first console in the lineup there is the Quantum 338. That is actually the latest console that's been released. That was released the beginning of 2020.
Wow. Okay.
So that is 128 inputs, 64 outputs, followed by the Quantum 5 and the Quantum 7. And the beautiful thing about the Quantum 5 and Quantum 7 is that people who have existing SD5s and SD7s literally have to just pull out the old engine, put the new engine in,
Okay.
and they get
Gotcha.
an upgrade straight to Quantum.
Gotcha. So for me, how would someone decide to pick between like an S21, S31 to go to the SD range? What is the determining factor between those products?
So we definitely find one of the biggest things, first off, is budget.
Okay.
So guys generally kind of throw a budget, and then from there we can decide. Another huge factor is channel count. What channel count do we need to achieve? What is the sort of future plan? Are you going to be expanding? We want to make sure that just like Digico, their lifespan on their consoles are so long that your future expansion needs to match up with that as well.
I get you.
Yeah.
And one key thing with some people that I meet across Africa, like for example, when they're trying to invest in a cheaper mixer, for example, I always say, you buy a cheaper mixer, the faders are gonna break, things are gonna break. If you buy a good product mixer, it's gonna last you for even 20 years, and it's still the right thing, and it still works. So just out of interest, for example, if you were to give a thumbs up number, how long what is like the lifespan of an S21 or an S31 in your head? Like how long do you think that kind of console is gonna last?
So the S range has been out for quite a few years now, and I mean it's one of the biggest products in the Digico range that we sell.
Yeah.
And as far as servicing and repairs, I think we've probably done 3 services on a console, and maybe 2 full fader replacements in that time. The rest of the consoles out on the market are still working 100%.
It's good.
It is. It's very impressive. The other thing that I always like talking about lifespan with the consoles is just the upgrades that keep coming to the desks.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite examples is the SD9. So when someone bought a SD9 in 2009, the console could only do 40 inputs and 16 outputs. There was a free update to bump it up to 48 inputs and 24 outputs. And many years down the line, there came the Core 2 software, which then pretty much just a USB stick in, load the software, bump the console up to 96 inputs, 48 outputs.
Wow.
And that was it, just software.
Yeah. And one thing for me with the SD ranges, I've noticed one of their biggest strength is just the software updates. Because I remember back then when the first time I used in S21, some of the features were a bit limited, like when it actually just came out. And then I remember when I then used it again, like last year, it seemed I could be able to do more. So I see Digico does a lot of software updates. Yeah.
The big thing for them is they listen to the end user. So a lot of times we will get requests from engineers asking for certain features or things that they feel that are lacking in the console. We then relay that to Digico, and if there's enough requests worldwide, you'll generally find the feature get added in. And it's actually quite incredible to see how they really listen to the end user rather than just trying to push a product.
Yeah. So, like with most mixers, right? Everyone says, no, our mixer is very simple. You can easily use it. You get it. It's so logical. So with the interfaces of the Digico mixers, the S21, S31, then the SD range, then the quantum range, in terms of the user interface, how you go around it, is it all similar or there's some differences when you're jumping between the ranges?
So the S series, they've really tried to go for a very simple approach. So the software, the interface is slightly different to the SD and the Quantum. But the way that I kind of explained it to the guys, if you know how to navigate around an iPad, it's actually pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of buttons on the console, so it actually is very easy to see what's going on. The SD range, there is a lot of complex stuff that's happening in there, as well as the Quantum. But again, the interface is very easy to go around. One comment that we've got from a lot of users, SD users, is that when they've gone onto the S console, it actually feels like a toy to them. It's just so easy to navigate.
And then, out of interest, when someone does buy a Digico mixer through the right channels, how many years is their support in terms of warranty, all of those things? How does that work with the Digico range?
Support is, that's as long as the brand's going to be there. I mean, just from Digico side, the support is absolutely incredible. Back in the day when I was doing engineering, I had a issue on New Year's Eve with a console, and I decided to try phone them for some help, thinking there's not a chance anyone's going to answer, and someone actually answered and helped me out.
Wow.
Which was absolutely incredible. As well as from DWR, is any console that we supply or sell, we will make sure 100% training is done, that we spend time with the guys. We'll even go as far as helping them out on their first show, just to give them peace of mind
100%.
that nothing's going to go wrong.
So in terms of, I know different products have got this thing, like when you purchase the products, like for the next 2 years, if there's any malfunction of a component, is kind of covered from your purchase. I don't know, is that warranty or what is that called again?
So there is there is warranty on the console. So what they do is they generally offer you a 1-year warranty. But we've had situations, and it's purely dependent on the situation, where we've got some consoles that are 9-10 years old, and a component fails, and Digico have replaced it under warranty, even though it's out of that one-year warranty. But again, it's purely per scenario on that.
Because one thing I always recommend people, like in Africa, is always buy through the proper channels.
Correct.
Because I believe if you, for example, you are in Africa and you buy your product from the States, for example, in Africa it is regarded like a grey product. So officially, you if you buy it in America, you have to send it back to America to kind of get the support, which can be a bit frustrating. But I remember the other day I was talking to you, and you were saying more and more the pricing is actually matching to, it's actually, there's no reason to actually try to go out of the proper channels to get
100%. Look, the one thing that we always try to do is we make sure that the end client gets the best price possible. wherever it might be. So a lot of the deals that we would do, for instance, up in Africa, is we would actually try to do shipping directly from Digico um, to the end user,
Gotcha.
and that's purely just to save on costs from Digico to
Yes.
Johannesburg
Yes.
and then back up.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
we're always trying to make sure that the end client is absolutely getting the best deal.
Nice. So now I'm just gonna talk about the mixes again, right? From the S21, S31. So I'm thinking if someone wants to make the move to start using the Digico products,
Yep.
the minimum or first step of entry is like the S21
Yep.
in terms of investment, right? So what features or what kind of show can you do on an S21?
So in S21, you can pretty much do anything that's out there. So live, so house of worship, any sort of festival. Corporate is incredible on it. It pretty much caters for majority that's out there. Other things like having the ability to be able to record to any DAW is also just such a nice thing to have. So you could also do some post-production stuff with it.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit that you can actually throw it at, and it works.
Inputs again, you said how many inputs?
48 inputs.
48 inputs. And then
That's
the S21 and the S31, in terms of the inputs, the outputs, everything is like the same.
Everything's identical. It's just, do you want a bigger surface or a small surface?
Okay, cool.
That's
and
it.
the bigger surface, it's more faders
That's
that you can control.
Correct.
And what is the difference again in the number count of the faders between the S21 and the
So
S31?
you're looking at 20 faders and then 30 faders.
Ah, okay,
So it's
cool.
an extra 10 that you'll get.
Got you. And then when you go to the SD range, the first one is what? SD11.
SD11, that's it.
Okay, cool. So
12
it's
faders, yeah.
12 faders. So just out of interest, right? So for me, when I'm looking at that mixer, it's like SD11, it's less faders, and then you've got S31, it's got more faders. So in terms of pricing, is an SD11 more expensive as compared to an
Yeah.
S31?
Yeah.
And what kind of like puts that price to be higher when you
Yeah.
look at the format, or you see like, oh, this is like a smaller
Yeah.
footprint. So
Absolutely. So we do get this a lot, where a lot of people look at a SD11, see it as 12 faders, one screen, and think, okay, it must be a bit cheaper than the S series. Where because SD falls into this really sort of high-end console,
yeah,
you have a lot more features packed into it. So for instance, one of the things that I use the SD11 with is we did a little theater show when I was freelancing, and I was able to do full automation on it, time code. We managed to program the entire show. All the snapshots were completely controlled by a time code. There's so much more that's packed in there that you don't get on the S series. So smaller footprint,
yes.
but a lot more packed
Okay.
into that.
So in a way, we can say when you want more complexity, when you've
Yes.
got a more complex show,
100%.
then the SD range
That's it.
is at the mixers. And then if you are running off like standard, standard setups that don't have complexity,
Absolutely.
the S31, S21 are the
100%.
mixers to
Absolutely.
go for.
Yeah.
And I think across Africa, most of the events in terms of complexity is like limited, but there are a few more and more people coming in that are adding more complexity.
Yeah.
So which is why they start moving to the SD range.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's really great.
Yeah.
And today also, I know you're going to take us through a little bit on the S31. And I know weeks to come, you know what, you'll be breaking down more and more on some
Absolutely.
of the special features on the mixers. So since today we're going to go through the S31 and how they work, whatever. What are some of the special features that you see on the mixer that you'd want to highlight on?
Well, some of the special features straight out of the bat is that, for one, the preamp that's
Cool.
in the console.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an entry level console,
Yeah.
but it sounds identical to the big boy, the SD7,
100%.
which is, I mean, that's looking at some big money there. So that's one thing that I really do love about the Digico range, is that they all sound identical.
Perfect.
Another feature that I really, really like about the S series is, again, the UB MADI, being able to take a USB cable straight into any PC laptop,
Yeah.
and record 48 channels and play
Yeah.
back 48 channels. That's a great feature. And then obviously just the little things, the little features they've added in there that you don't see on smaller format consoles.
Yeah.
Multi-band compressors, dynamic
Wow.
EQs, tubes, all of
Yeah.
those little features that are actually very useful tools.
And then out of interest, in terms of files compatibility, show files compatibility. So S21, if I create on S21, can it also work on S31? And can it be vice versa as well?
Yeah, 100%,
Okay.
absolutely.
And then on the SD ranges from the SD11 going up, are those files also interchangeable?
Absolutely. So SD consoles, any SD consoles, because it's the same application,
Yeah.
they will work with each other, which is great. There is a download that you can get which converts the files to the specific console.
Okay, cool.
So
Gotcha.
that's the only thing that you would need. But
Yeah.
otherwise, everything would stay the same.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
No, thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to having more and more insights so that people can get the most from the actual products.
100%.
Because for me, if you're not learning anything from Kyle, who's the Digico guy in Africa, I'm thinking you're actually getting less from the products.
Yeah.
And for me, my personal experience with Kyle, I remember I was doing different international shows, and then he came through to configure a mixer I was using, and for me, because my exposure on Digico Mixers was not as much, they were a bit intimidating. But when he came through to show me around things, I actually mixed the tour with some international artists. So,
brilliant.
so it's really amazing, and I'm just looking forward for other people to also learn
100%.
from you, because you are the Digico guru.
No, thank you so much.
Yeah, cool.
man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So now you're just gonna take us through and just show us some of the features on the actual mixer.
100%.
Cool.